Welcome back to episode 9 of Drop the Mitts Hockey Podcast, brought to you in partnership with Primetime Productions. I am with my host, Mike Sullivan, and we are with Boston Bruins forward, Trevor Kuntar. Trevor, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well. How are you guys?
We're doing well, man. Can't complain. It's definitely an honor to have you on. We're super pumped about this interview.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
How's the summer been going for you?
It's been going really well. I was home until July, and then I went to development camp beginning of July, and I've just been staying in Boston ever since. So I've just been enjoying my time out here training and doing some of my rehab. Because I had my injury at the end of last season and just skating and stuff. So it's been super fun.
Yeah, it's awesome, man. You mentioned you missed development camp. I was kind of bummed I missed you. I was pumped to get out there. I got kind of left to the wolves when I was there.
Yeah, you
did. Yeah, to go ask random questions around the locker room. I looked like a fucking lost puppy in there. But yeah, it was definitely a good experience. But so how often have you been? You haven't been on the ice at all?
No, so I've been skating since I started skating a little bit in June, end of June, and then obviously no contact, but I was able to start doing contact like end of July. So I'm like back to 100% now, which is good.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Definitely a tough rehab, so I can't imagine what that was like going through.
Yeah, I'm glad it's towards the tail end of it now. So
yeah, dude. Yeah, and especially no golf all off season.
Oh my god,
that's tough.
Yeah. But yeah, man. So obviously you signed a contract this off season. Take us through that process, and obviously we want to congratulate you on that. Signing that ticket, and obviously that's a huge accomplishment. Take us through that process and what that was like signing that first NHL deal.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, it was definitely like a kind of crazy situation for me because with my injury, it was like right after my season was over, and I ended up getting an elbow surgery right away. And then after about 3 weeks, I recovered, and then I signed my first contract. I was obviously in communication with the Bruins, and it was just awesome. Like, obviously, it was a really tough decision to leave BC, but I felt that I was ready to kind of take the next step, and I was like kind of hungry for another challenge, and I just thought that it was the right time to do it. So I was obviously really excited after talking to my family and everything. It was awesome.
Yeah. What was that like? Like, were you with family when you officially signed it? Like, what was, your phone?
No, so I was in Boston the whole time. But obviously I was on the phone with my parents, my friends, family. I let some of my buddies know from back home, like what was going on. I had them in the loop, and it was just a really cool experience. My family was obviously super excited, super proud. So, yeah, it was just, I mean, it was awesome. I'm excited to kind of get going for like training camp soon and kind of see how everything is. So I'm super excited.
Yeah, man. Kind of talking on BC too. You spent 3 years there. Obviously, you experienced a little bit with Jerry York, obviously legendary hockey coach, college hockey coach. But you also got to play for Greg Brown in his first season. What was the difference in philosophies between the two? Obviously, with York being there for forever and establishing himself as one of the best college hockey coaches ever. What was that like playing for York? And then what was the transition like going from Jerry York to Greg Brown?
Yeah, I mean, obviously playing for Jerry was great. He's just, I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard, but he's just the best guy. He's a great human being. And yeah, my freshman year, we had a really good team. So that was super, super fun. And just kind of seeing how he's always positive in the locker room has been awesome. And just seeing how he is on the ice. And obviously he's the winningest coach in college hockey. So it was an honor to play for him. But yeah, it was kind of we weren't really expecting it when he retired, and he came in the locker room after my sophomore season, in the spring, and kind of just told us that he was planning on stepping down. And then, it was very interesting going through that process. We always heard like the rumors of the coaches that were interviewing and everything. So like we were trying to be in the loop a little bit, which was funny, but, yeah, Coach Brown is awesome. I think, him and, Coach York are very similar. But like very similar people. But I think Coach Brown his mind for the game is awesome, and I think this upcoming season they're gonna have a really good season, and I think BC is in good hands with him. So super exciting.
Yeah, BC is primed to have a sick run this year. I can't wait to watch, dude.
Yeah, they're gonna be good.
Yeah, Trevor, I want to take you back a little bit, your early playing days, like with the Buffalo Junior Sabres and with the Youngstown Phantoms. When did you know that you really had a chance to play at such a high level in Division One? Was there a specific like age that you kind of knew that you had a legit chance at making it?
I wouldn't say. I mean, when I was 14, that's when like guys around me. I think the first commitment was around when I was 14. So the first person in my grade or my age. I think it was might have been Spencer Knight actually, which is funny because I ended up playing with him at BC. But I think that's when like guys started like talking to schools a little bit. So I always had like that idea, like that I always wanted to play Division One hockey and obviously play in the NHL. And I think at the time I was a little naive and I like kind of just like expected it to happen. I didn't really realize like the level, but obviously I was playing with like a lot of good players and being in the Junior Sabres was a great organization. My coaches there were awesome and they really knew how to like push me and make me better. So I think I just always had that confidence. And then I think right around when I was 14, um, that's when I kind of started to realize like that this could be like a reality pretty soon. So
Yeah, dude. Kind of like talking on your youth, growing up and playing too. Did you have any, players that you watched closer than others to model yourself after?
I mean, obviously when I was super young, I loved Sidney Crosby. Just growing up, I've always loved Sidney Crosby the way he plays and protects the puck. I mean, most people do, but I think once I got a little older, I started to like Jamie Benn a lot. I think he plays hard, good two-way forward. I mean, he can score. He's pretty gritty, so I like that. And then now I like Matthew Tkachuk a lot too. I think the way he plays is awesome. So
Yeah, that's a great guy to kind of aspire to be like.
yeah,
Sure, dude, especially after this past playoff run, he was a fun.
yeah.
Yeah,
Sadly, it was against the Bruins, but he
yeah,
he did very well. It was fun to watch.
So fun to watch, man. And like, he kind of plays on that line and
Yeah.
sometimes he does cross that line, but overall he's just a phenomenal player and can put the puck in the net and yeah,
Yeah,
it's definitely a good player to emulate your game after.
for sure.
Uh, so during the recruiting process, was there no doubt that you were going to go to BC? Were there other schools that you really liked? Um, or was it always BC that you wanted to go to?
Well, so I have a very funny story because I was originally committed to Harvard when I committed to Harvard when I was 16, I believe. And I mean, growing up before like Harvard, even when I was super young, my dad played at St. Lawrence and he played a little bit pro. Um, but I would always watch the Bean Pot and I loved Boston College. I was kind of growing up watching like Goudreau, Hayes, and those guys and those teams at BC. And I always wanted to play there. I even had like stickers in my room of like BC. But when I was getting recruited, I never talked to them at the time when I was around 15, 16. And I mean, Harvard's such a great school, and the coaches there were awesome. I loved Teddy and those guys. So I thought it was going to be a really good fit for me. And obviously, it's a great school. So I was kind of thinking like it would set me up good for after hockey too. So I don't know. And the team's doing really well. That's when they were I think they might have won the Bean Pot around then, and they were going to like the Frozen Four and stuff. So I don't know. I thought it was kind of a no brainer at the time. So I committed there, and then during COVID, they didn't have a season. So and I didn't want to play another year of juniors. So I was like, I think this is kind of a sign to switch it up. And then BC was the first team that reached out, and it kind of felt like it was almost meant to be a little bit because that's like kind of where I always wanted to go.
Yeah, it's kind of like a full circle moment,
Yeah.
like it's crazy. You brought up the Bean Pot, man. What was it like playing in that tournament? Obviously, for people that aren't from Massachusetts and don't follow it as much, like what does that mean for a kid? What does it mean for the players playing in it, and how big of a tournament was that to you, and what did it mean, for you to play in that?
Yeah. I mean, sadly, we didn't win it, but just playing in that and like being in the TD Garden was awesome. It's just such a deeper meaning going into the whole year. It's almost another like tournament that we get to do that other teams don't get to, and you have so much pride in wanting to win that for your school and playing in front of like a full crowd at TD Garden where it's pretty much your own school and the other team's school. like cheering against each other. It's so loud. The atmosphere is insane. It's honestly like you can't replicate it, and it's just super special. Um, like I said, obviously I wish we could have won one when I was there, but it was such a great experience being able to do that and kind of just like play in front of your school like that. It's just a lot different when you're playing when both schools fans are going at it and everything. It's awesome. So
Yeah. So during that, not only during the Bean Pot, but college hockey as a whole, who would you say that is the most? Who was the most difficult player to play against during your time in at BC?
um I don't know if I can pick out like a singular player to play against, but there's definitely some teams in the Hockey East that play a lot harder than others and like definitely play more like meat and potatoes games, I guess you could say. Um, I'd say like the Yukon, Merrimack, those teams, Lowell, they always play super hard and they're super physical. Whereas like it's a little bit different when you play like BU and Northeastern, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I kind of want to take you over to the draft too. Did you have a feeling that the Bruins were going to pick you? Were there any other teams that you were kind of leaning towards? You were like thinking they were going to grab me, or did the Bruins just kind of come out of the blue and unexpected?
I talked to the Bruins a little bit before the draft, but I couldn't get like a good read on like what they were feeling. I guess I had a couple of good conversations with them, but honestly, I thought I was gonna go to Tampa. I had the best conversations with them. They seemed the most interested at the time, and they told me they had a really good they had me in a good spot. Um, but obviously the Bruins ended up picking me, which I was so happy about, ecstatic. Just like being in Boston, I thought it's gonna be such a good opportunity to kind of learn like what living here is like is everything. So no, I was super happy.
Yeah, obviously you got a couple buddies on the team that also got also playing for the Bruins. McLaughlin, you got Gasso. Did they? How often are you in contact with them? Pretty regularly.
Yeah.
And how cool is that to have your buddies on the same professional team as you guys were in college?
Yeah, I mean, well, it was awesome when Mark. I was totally pushing him to sign with Boston when he was like in his process because he's one of my favorite teammates I ever played with, and we were line mates a little bit. So, but and then when he ended up signing and playing his first game, we all went to the first game when he scored and everything, and that was so awesome just to see. But yeah, I talked to Andre and Oscar Jelvik is at BC too, is Bruins draft pick. So we all keep in touch a lot, and obviously me, Jelvy and Andre, we were all on the line together for a little bit last year, which was kind of cool with all Bruins lines. So thought that was cool.
Yeah, you mentioned that line. You also got the chance to play with Cutter Gauthier. What was it like playing with those guys? Obviously, yourself included. Just such a highly skilled line. What was it like playing with those guys?
Yeah, I mean, obviously Cutter is a very special player, and so is Andre, and so is Jelvy. But I think it makes it a lot easier when you're playing with other players who are really, really good. So it was just super fun, and I tried to enjoy it. And I don't know, we would love to compete and practice, which was awesome. And I think that's like one of the most fun things is like competing in practice with each other and making each other better. With those guys who are like so skilled as well, I think it's a good atmosphere for that. I think just playing together was super fun to see what we could do out there and compete. So it was fun.
Yeah, dude. So obviously, being from Buffalo too, you mentioned how you thought Tampa might be the team to pick you up, but were you hoping to kind of get out of the Northeast, or were you happy to stay around, stay local, stay near friends, stay near family, or were you kind of hoping to branch out a little bit?
Um, Honestly, I mean, I was just like, I know everyone says this, but like I was super honored just to be picked by anybody, especially after being passed up my first year eligible. So like, but when I found out I was picked by the Bruins, I was super happy just knowing that I was going to be playing college hockey in Boston, and like it's such a well-known like organization, and just like especially being here now, you see why that organization has the reputation that such a good reputation that it does, and I think I'm just like super grateful that I could have been picked by such a really good organization.
Yeah. So Mikey brought up the fact that you're from Buffalo. I got to ask you, what's the what's the best wing place in Buffalo? I know there's a lot of conversation about that, a lot of discussion. What is the best wing place in Buffalo?
I mean, you can't go wrong. There's a lot of really good places, but Barbell is by far the best. By far the best. So I live in Clarence, and then they had the original Barbell is about 30 minutes from my house, but they just put one about 10 minutes from my house. So every time I'm home in the summer, I always make sure I get over there a couple times. But they by far have the best wings I've ever had.
I'm going to be taking your recommendation when I go up to the Prospect Challenge. I take my dad up there, so I hope you don't let me down, man. But Mikey, what else you got, bud?
I know you mentioned Crosby as a player that you were kind of emulating your game after Jamie Benn. But growing up, did you have a favorite player? Is it the same as like same answer, Crosby, Ben, those guys, or was there somebody who you were just like a complete fan of, had their jersey, had their poster on the wall, anything like that?
I'd say it was Crosby. Like I had
Crosby,
his jersey. I had like that blue Winter Classic jersey that they had when they played the Sabres.
Oh, I love that.
yeah, those
I
are so
have
nice.
one. Those are my favorite jerseys.
Yeah, those are the sickest jerseys
So
ever,
cool.
I think.
Yeah.
And I had like a poster of him in my room and stuff. So he was
Yeah. That was the year with the that was the shootout, right? Against Buffalo when it was like a snowstorm. Oh,
sweet.
Yeah, legendary.
So we were obviously prior to this, before we started recording, we looked up, your stuff on Hockey DB, and it has you listed as a center left wing. Where do you feel most comfortable in your game? Where do you think that your game is best suited?
That's a good question. I think honestly, I love playing both. I'm not more comfortable in one or the other. I do love taking faceoffs. I think that's like one of my favorite parts of the game. So you're going one-on-one versus someone else, and I think that part of like hockey is super special and fun. And I take pride in my faceoffs a lot. So, but I did grow up playing center until I played in Youngstown, and then I played a little bit of both growing up, but mainly center. And then when I was in Youngstown, I played left wing for 3 years, but I took faceoffs my last 2 years. And then at BC, I played left wing my first 2 years, and then my junior year, I played a little bit of both. So I don't know exactly where I'll be playing next year, but I'm happy to do either.
Yeah. Sorry, Mikey, you go.
No, all good. I was just gonna say too, coming into obviously the first year of real professional hockey, what do you think some strengths of your game are, and then what are some things that you think you can use this time to develop and just kind of get stronger?
Yeah, I think definitely some strength is being hard on the puck and just competing. And I think my shot is definitely one of my strengths. But I'd say something that I need to work on is definitely my skating. I've been skating with a lot of the guys in the summer, and I think just seeing how fast these guys play and how fast they make plays and skate, I think that's definitely going to be different. But I think that'll come the more experience I get. So just something to keep working on. And it's the right spot to do it. They have all the skills coaches on the ice that are really helpful. So it's been a great summer so far, and I'm excited to kind of keep building on it.
It's awesome.
Yeah. So the Bruins obviously lost two legends to retirement, Patrice Bergeron, David Krejci. When you got drafted, not even just when you got drafted, just at any point in time, have you had any experiences with either of those two? Have you ever gotten to meet any of those two guys?
I have not met Krejci, but I've met Bergeron a couple of times. He's been around the rinks, around the rink this summer a little bit, and obviously he's just a super nice guy. You can tell he's very down to earth, and you can see why he is the way that he is just from meeting him and kind of seeing how he is around the rink. So.
Yeah, unbelievable guy, and obviously when we talked to Mark, he said the same thing. Just such a humble guy, and just like you said, down to earth, super humble, just awesome guy to be around. So that's awesome. Mikey, you got any other questions, bud?
I got nothing else, man. How about you, Chris?
No, I'm good, man. Honestly,
Good.
everything. I had everything answered. This was awesome. Again, we're super grateful that you took the time to join us on Drop the Mitts. And best of luck this season, man. we've got real high hopes for you, and the sky's the limit for you, bud.
Thank you. I appreciate you guys having me on.
Awesome, man. Take
Hey,
care.
thanks so much, man.
Thank you.
Bye.